Hey guys, welcome to another Make It box. We are in the month of March and we're gonna go ahead and get started here. So I'm gonna run through our projects really quick. We have this round sign here. So you'll notice that it is engraved on the back and the letters fit perfectly on them. And you have a little flower. And then we have this tulip sign here with the 3 pieces to give it kind of that shiplap look. We have the truck. And then the little umbrella. The wagon with the flowers. And then we have a little mini banner. Over here, you should have 5 circles and 5 flowers. So they will go on like that. And last, as far as the pieces, this is a little stand that we have here. And then we have our paintbrush. This one is stain and this one is glue. You also should have a little string, and that is for our banner. All right, guys, so we will go ahead and get started here. I'm gonna actually start with the stain. So I'm gonna stain this background and the wagon and the background of the truck. And as far as the truck, so it is up to you if, let me make that, that piece does fit. If you want to use these little pieces that are inside, you don't have to. Yeah, it's totally up to you. Otherwise, I'll just kind of take these off, show you what you can do. Do that. Not use these pieces, or you can paint them and put them in, or you could do the tires like that. Totally up to you. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get started staining. So a couple of things that I have laying around would be a little container of water, a paper plate. You don't have to get this crazy and use a party cow. This is just a baby wipe, a wet wipe, or a wet paper towel will also work. And then I also have scissors to open up the stain and the glue. So to start with, I'm going to stain these too. So I'm going to stain first. So I'm going to get all the pieces that I want to stain. And we're going to start with that. I'm going to be staining all of these pieces. And the staining process, if you've been a member of the Make It box, you have done it before. So what we're going to do is we will use our water and we're going to put a little bit of stain on our plate. So you will take your stain. I like to kind of mix it up in the packet here, and then I'm going to cut the corner and put it on the plate. Okay, so I'm going to get these pieces that are dry out of the way, and I think I'm going to move on to the truck next. Okay. Shake this whole thing up a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of tap it against my hand like this. I'm trying to decide what color I want to paint my truck. So, yep, I mean, obviously, any option, any color you want to. But, I was gonna mix this blue and white together and do a light color. But I'm really into this color right now, so I think I'm gonna go with this one. We'll see. If I don't like it, I can always paint over it. So I'm gonna wipe wipe off that paint. And just do a little test spot. Oh yeah. I don't know why. Like a saffron orange color. I really like that color right now. So yeah, you could definitely, if you don't want super bright, just mix a little bit of paint with white and it'll really tone it down and kind of could give you more of that like pastel, muted tones. Maybe that would be a better word for it. But I feel like in the spring, I am ready for bright colors and flowers and all the fun things. So I kind of like to just put some paint on and then go along the edges like this. I just found that to be the easiest for me, to try to not get paint on the edges if that's what I'm going for. Doesn't always happen, but just kind of feel like it gives it a cleaner look. You can also just paint the edges. Super easy. Trying to decide what color I'm going to do the wheels now. I don't know. Might have to mix a bunch of colors together at the end and try to get brown, huh? Do orange. So if you've made it this far and you're like super mad at me because you don't like all these little pieces, and you haven't started and you're just watching, you could always get some markers and color them. I just really like the painted look. I think it gives it, I guess it depends on the kind of markers that you have, but you could definitely do that. You could get paint markers rather than just plain ones. But I just find this like relaxing, you know, as long as you don't have a lot of background noises going on. When I say that, I mean like a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old running around. They are napping right now. So we'll see if this gets done before they wake up. All right, how fun is that color? So I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'll probably go back and touch up some pieces. So while I have this color open, I'm gonna do a couple of flowers. So I'm gonna do the tops here. So I'm just gonna do one of these. And then I'm gonna do maybe 2 of these. So for these smaller pieces, if you don't want to just use the edge like that, you can just use like the corner. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just starting kind of in the middle and going out towards the edges. Okay. And I think I'm going to do these 2. So this would set like this on the umbrella. So I'm going to do this piece and this piece. So I just get a little bit of extra paint and put it. So get a little bit of extra paint there, and then I just take it and go on my edges. The easiest and quickest way I have found that works for me. Okay. I think I'm also gonna do the flower on my Hello Spring sign, and then I'm gonna switch colors. This one's pretty delicate, so just, if if it would happen to break on you, you can easily glue it. Just want to paint the pieces as is, and then we would, so if it would break here or something, we would just glue it on and you wouldn't even know. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my brush and wipe it off. And we'll move on to another color. So in my head, I know that I'm gonna do green last, I think, for these pieces. So I think I'm gonna do some pink mixed with some white. This one needs mixed up. I'm just using the end of my paintbrush. I can easily wipe that off. If I grab a toothpick, that would work too. And then just wipe that off and we're good to go. So I'm gonna grab some white first and I'm gonna put it on the plate. And then I'm gonna grab some pink. And then I'm just gonna start mixing until I find the color that I like. You do not have to do this. You can just use the colors as is. It would probably be easier that way. Just curious. Just adding a little bit of stain. For the color. So I like that color. All right, so I'm gonna paint a couple flowers. And my spring letters. So I'm gonna do these first. So since these are a little more fine, I'm gonna try to get most of the paint off of. So there's a lot of paint like in the middle of the brush. So I'm gonna try to wipe that off. So there's not so much there, so I can really focus on using the end of the brush to get to them fine areas. You could also, you know, do each letter a different color. That would be fun. You want to make sure that you're painting the right side. I've done that before. And you go to glue it, and you have to get all the paint back out. Fun times. Wish this wouldn't take too much. But if you're mixing color, it would. All right, and okay, so something told me to look at my phone to make sure that I was still recording. And it happened that just a few, I don't know, if it was a minute or so before I stopped and looked, it stopped. So I'm glad that I looked at it. So all I did was add a second coat to this one, and then my flowers, I just kind of touched them up. And so what I'm doing now is I'm using orange and painting a few things. So I painted this piece of the umbrella, this flower, and I'm gonna do my other two flowers and go from there. Okay. And then this flower. All right. So I'm gonna wash off my brush and do a little bit of green, and then I think we'll kind of set everything up and see. I still haven't decided on my little tire pieces, so we'll see there. Actually, I might just stain them. I think I'll stain them. So let's do the green first. So close up that one. And I think I'm gonna do like the stem this color, but I'm gonna tone it down for the leaves. I'm gonna try. It's pretty small area, so So to do that, I'm just going to use the very tip and get just a very little bit on my brush. Dab off a little bit. And this one, I don't want that to break, so I'm going to leave that on the ground, or the table. Just kind of like almost just dabbing it on with this one. Not much. So then I'm going to grab a little bit of green. Don't need very much. Got my plate here. This white is okay. Not like a super big fan of that. Mix in. Let's just see what this does. Probably just make it go back to the same color. I kind of like that. Maybe a little bit more bluish, I don't know. We'll just see what it looks like here. Okay, so not my day with recording. I apologize. So all I did was I took that pink that I added on here, and I kind of showed you some different, I added it to the side here. You can do that, a little bit of shading. Like I was saying, that I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to that kind of stuff, so I usually just sand if I'm going to do anything. And then, but if you wanted to, you can kind of see I added some to these little pieces here. Definitely up to you. And one thing I did do is I took, my hands are full of paint, sorry. So I had a little bit of that pink on my brush, and I just took it and went along the edges just to give it a little bit of color. So just a really light pink on there. You can kind of see there. So everything is drying, and we're going to go ahead and glue next. So I have a napkin or paper towel or anything, so that's what this is here. It's just cheers, because why not make it fun, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and show you how we are going to glue. So this is our glue here, and we're gonna need our scissors again. So if you wanted to, you could pour this out onto a plate, or we'll just kind of use it like, we're going to cut the end off and we're going to just use it kind of like if you're decorating cookies. Definitely not good at that. So if you're not, you'll be all right. Another thing you could do is put it on a plate and use like a Q-tip or a paintbrush or your finger and apply it to the backs. But I'm going to show you how to do it this way. So we do not need this piece right now. And I'm going to start with this sign first. So I'm going to get these other ones out of the way. And so what we're going to do with this one is figure out where we want these. And then we're going to glue them on. So I'm going to put glue on the back of, I think, all 3 of them. And then set them down and then just kind of adjust them fairly quickly because the glue will dry fairly quickly. If you have any, sometimes with these little tiny pieces at this thickness, we will get a little bit of, I don't even know if you can see it, but a little bit of bowing there. So if you had some little tiny clips, you could use that. Otherwise, I would just find something heavy. And once we glue it, we'll just set it on top just to make sure that it stays down. So I'm going to go ahead and start by cutting a little tiny little piece. We don't want to cut too much off, otherwise we're not going to have very much control of the glue. So I'm just going to cut about that much off there. So I'm going to get a little bit of glue to that corner. And it's going to start to kind of come out. So I'm going to put it on. So I'm not really squeezing that much. So you don't want a whole lot because we can spread it around. Another way you can do this is with your finger. Okay, so then I'm gonna, before I put it on here, I'm gonna dab that glue off. So I'm setting it down, pushing it, excuse me, and then just setting it on. Okay, so that's starting to dry, so we want to get the other 2 pieces on there so we can get them set. So I'm just going to put some glue down the middle. Okay, and then wiping it on, and I'm going to tap it. And set that one on. And our last one, same thing. So then just, while you still can, move it around. I like to have a little bit of space in between. Just kind of like to look at the edges and line it up from there. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside, and I'm going to set, I have my cup here, so I'm probably just going to set my cup on top of it. If I had 2 things, I could set something here and on this side. Or I could sit here and hold it for a little bit, but I'm not going to do that. So when you do, if you have to set something on it, it might shift a little bit, so you might want to just look at that before you walk away from it. So I'm going to set this off to the side. We're going to glue a couple other things while we're waiting for that one to dry, and then we'll add this to it. So I'm going to grab my truck here. And I'm going to glue the back of my big piece to start with. So again, I have my glue. I'm just going to go all over. Okay, so this is a little bit trickier. I'm trying to get glue on this edge here. I don't want too much to come out, but I don't want to get some, I guess. As long as we have the majority of it covered and have a little bit on there, it should be fine. And so I'm going to go ahead and take my finger and just kind of go around. I don't want to spend too much time because it's starting to dry. All right, so I got glue on there, and I'm just going to dab it. I don't even use that color. Okay, so this is why we dab it. It must not have been, it was in a hurry, that's why. I have a little piece of glue there, which is fine, because I am going to put the tires in there. But if you were on the outside, you just scrape it off like that, or use your paintbrush that's cleaned off, or something like that. So then I'm just going to take glue for the tires. Actually, that's plenty. And just mix it around. Got way too much in here, so. Just setting these in there. If you want to see what it looks like before you put it together, you can just set the pieces in there. Or kind of put it together. And then I'm just going to run a little bit of glue on these pieces. Another way you could do this is just put the glue on the whole back, but then you don't know exactly where the truck is. Excuse me, guys, sorry. Do you remember when I told you to make sure you were painting the right side? See, I do it too. Okay. We'll just set that one aside. Don't make this stuff up. I do this a lot. right. So that is basically gluing in a nutshell. I'm gonna fix this piece and put it in there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and speed it up for the rest of this. When you are putting on these pieces, again, you're just gonna line that edge, and then you're gonna line it up with the lines. I mean, that's why I scored them onto the backer, so it makes it easier for you. And again, this piece is kind of, it's gonna need something setting on it, or you're gonna have to sit and hold it for a little bit. So that is basically how that is done. And for, let's see, these are gonna go on just like this, again with the lines. And then of course we have our banner, so you can go on however you want. Okay, and then the last piece will be putting the string, these pieces on the string, and then I'll show you the final product. All right, guys, last thing is this little stand here. So you have it facing this way and your arch here. And what you're going to do is just press it down into there. And then it's gonna go on the back of this sign. So I'm gonna add a little bit of glue and put it on there. It's gonna help it to stand up. Look at that. Now, if you wanted to put it on a different one, you could put it on the truck if you wanted to. Just put it like that. It would stand up that way. Totally up to you. Basically, decide. Other ones are just meant to sit against something else. So let's put it on the truck just so I can show you what it looks like. So I'm gonna let that dry this way and then we'll come back. All right, guys, so I just kind of propped up these against my little topiary here, and then I have this stand on the truck, and the Hello Spring sign is against the back there, and then I have the umbrella just against that sign. And I actually made this tray myself, so I put little nails in. Otherwise you could use little tiny command hooks. And as far as finding a tray, I will link a couple from Amazon in the description box below. Just a couple of them that I really like. So thanks for joining, you guys, and I hope you had fun. And happy spring. We'll see you next time.